Back in 2007, retro gaming was on its dying breath before modern gaming hit at the end of the year. The GameCube was no more, and Final Fantasy VII was 10 years old. The RPG was an all-time classic at that point, with it being the second best-selling PlayStation 1 game of all time and the best-selling character-based PlayStation 1 game. Throughout the middle of or later half of the game, we often saw flashbacks. No, not that flashback. We often saw flashbacks of some guy named Zack who looked like Cloud but without that blonde hair. Turns out the black-haired motherfucker was Zack. Named Zack, and nobody gave a shit about him. I bet you didn't give a shit about how I just said his name twice. See what I did there? But Square wanted people to actually give a shit, so during the mid-2000s, Square pumped out many pieces of media based on Final Fantasy VII lore to build up upon it, as well as fill in the gaps left unfilled. These include Before Crisis in 2004, the movie Advent Children in 2005, the Dirge of Cerberus in 2006, and then to end it all off, how about go to the black hair Wonder Boy that nobody gave two shits about in Crisis Core, released in 2007. Some of you may be slamming your hands on the desk right now saying, this game isn't retro, why are you reviewing it? I've had one too many modern games now, I'll unsubscribe on YouTube and Vidly and unfollow on Blair. But I'll explain myself. I feel there are three tiers to gaming history: old school, which lasts from 1979 and before, but more importantly, I feel retro lasts from 1979 until late 2007 or early 2008. And this game was first released in September of 2007, so it falls under retro for me. Joke's on you, now you lost the bet, so you can't unsubscribe or unfollow me at all, ever. Now you may be wondering who thought this was a good idea. Me either. But it's time we have the court decide a verdict. I decided to get Judge Chaos on the case.
Order in the court. I have come to decide for all viewers who thought this game was a good idea. Who thought this was a good idea? Yes?
What? This is bullshit!
Well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the main part of the review. Firstly, the graphics. They look pretty good for a PSP game. The PSP didn't seem like it could pump out great graphics, but these are something you would find on GameCube, which is good for a portable console released in 2005. Their character models look like they're from Kingdom Hearts during gameplay. The colours are perfect for each area and uses pathetic fallacies very well. The graphics look realistic and overall feel like a cleaner version of the original Final Fantasy VII. The music is also great with dramatic orchestra and theming too. The graphics are all pretty great and realistic. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is very unique compared to the original Final Fantasy VII. This type of battle system acts like a mix between normal gameplay we know from Final Fantasy as well as hack and slashes like God of War. You can cycle through many attacks with the L1 and R1 buttons. You have your magic attacks and a sword. A sword. A motherfucking sword! Anyways, this new battle system feels very good. It feels like a mix between God of War crossing over with Final Fantasy. Yeah, I already said that, but you know, fuck it. Which is basically the sum of it. Just keep on fighting and then you win, but you can't just throw random attacks and expect to win. You have to make sure you use the perfect attacks to deal the most damage and win the fight. Like I said, you can't just spam the X button on the sword attack button. Some parts of the gameplay are omitted though. For the first part of the game, you barely receive any free roaming parts, but once it comes into play, it feels so good. So in this case, the advantage is the disadvantage. Yeah, I don't know either. Did I also mention there's a slot machine gimmick? kind of like in Paper Mario Colour Splash, where the slots can give you advantages in battle, which adds luck to the game, but luck is always either good or terrible in certain cases, so it's not a great thing. The slots actually take the form of characters who I'll talk about right now. The main ones you need to know are Zack the Flashback, not that flashback, for fuck's sake, and Jill the guy with the Buster Sword, who's basically like Simon in Lord of the Flies, Sephiroth the white-haired prick, and Cloud the blonde-haired mercenary who Zack meets during a mission.
Well, it seems that I am needed down here. It is context sensitive.
What did I do this time?
According to the list of context since I was given, you didn't mention how Cloud and Zack actually met. You just said Cloud, the blonde-haired mercenary who Zack meets during a mission.
So, at least I mentioned during a mission.
But you didn't mention what the mission was about and what happened for Zack and Cloud to meet, which is crucial.
Okay then wait, I recognise your voice. Letter 64, isn't it?
How the fuck did you think that, you fucking jackass? I am done with this bullshit. All these fucking animators have melted your brain into a mush, so now you don't even know who your mascot is. It's me, Pixel. My voice channel got corrupted due to your stupid ass. I quit. Goodbye, jackass. Come back to me when you have a brain again, you fucking thick bastard.
Well, that was certainly something. The mission in which he wants me to talk about is when Zack and Cloud were in a crash and bonded about how they're both comfortable, and it was like, yeah, what do you do? Overall, it's time we collect in the score. I give this game a 7 out of 10. The unique combat is very fun and cool to work with, but the slot machine leads to some wins based on luck rather than skill. And the stuff omitted from the first part of the game, which come back later, are pretty impactful and they feel much better that way. As for the events, Angel dies and gives Zack the Buster Sword, in which he uses throughout the rest of the game after that. Sephiroth sets fire to Cloud's hometown, which was Nibelheim, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then Cloud goes in a fit of insanity and rage and he stabs Sephiroth, sending him into the live stream, but Zack and Cloud get knocked out cold out of weakness and some scientist bastard named Hojo does an Augustus Gloop or Futurama with these bodies and locks them up in a tight area where they can't move at all. Move on 7 years and Cloud and Zack finally, break free, but are on the most wanted list. Yeah, fail. And Cloud and Zack fight soldiers who are a part of Shinra, but then after they all die, pathetic fallacy kicks in the door and Zack is left dying as Cloud tries to save his life. Zack leaves Cloud and the world's telling Cloud that he is his living legacy. And Cloud forgets who he is and decides to take on Shinra after the death of his best friend, in which leads on to Final Fantasy VII. But how does the story end in Final Fantasy VII? Well, prepare for another review tonight on iOS on the original Final Fantasy VII. This video will be out at 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time, which is around 15 minutes after this video goes live. So if you watch this the moment it released on YouTube or Blair, a few minutes after that, you will see how the story ends. As for Vidly, you have to change sites. Sykes isn't on Vidly. Anyway, if you come from that video, I thank you for watching both videos and I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
I'm your living legacy. Oh.